Oh, the UK trade deal. Can I cover that? Oi, bruv. The UK trade deal. Let's talk about it. So the first of Donald Trump's trade war trade deals have been signed. He's supposedly negotiating hundreds of them, personally involved. And this is the first one to finally get signed. This is the big announcement. He's been hyping it up for days. And it's our trade deal with the UK. So now we're bruvs with our bruvs again. But the deal is pretty light on any substantial change or details, and in fact keeps the tariffs in place. So, it's not a major change, but I'll kind of go over some of the context here. Here's the USA. Here's the UK, our long and storied history. And here actually is the EU, which is also important. Okay, what's interesting here is that the UK used to be part of the EU. And for a long time, we were trying to sign this trade deal. This is during Obama. Between the USA and the EU, we were trying to get a trade deal. It would have been the largest trade deal like ever. A comprehensive trade deal between the USA and the EU. This is during Obama. But we couldn't quite get it done. It's very difficult. There's a lot of people in the EU. They all had different things they wanted. Trade deals are not super popular on the USA side either, so it's just tough to get through. Nothing happened. And part of the reason, not all of the reason, but part of the reason when they were talking about Brexit in the UK was that, hey, once we get rid of the EU, we'll be able to negotiate our own trade deals directly. We'll get one with the USA and everyone else. The EU's holding us back, and we're going to get great trade deals. So that was the idea of Brexit. So then the UK has Brexit, but no deal gets signed. No deal gets signed. And a lot of things are tried to be forced through, but nothing happens. Brexit ends up being, pretty much economically a disaster. The UK, I think Obama has a direct quote where the UK is back of the queue, which is crazy. But they're not even in the line for a trade deal. Negotiating, it takes time and they have other things in front of it. So this is bad. Okay. The trade deal doesn't happen. Flash forward to today. Donald Trump has basically a trade war with the UK where he throws up tariffs on their goods. But because the USA and the UK are both kind of eager to get a deal going, Donald Trump needs one of these things to be a deal to start the snowball of other people maybe getting a deal. Nobody wanted to be first. And the UK needs a deal because, honestly, Keir Starmer needs a win in general. He's polling really badly. That's the PM over there. And they've been wanting a deal for a long time. So they hammered out a deal that just came out. This is the UK-US trade deal, but it's very light on specifics. Basically, what it is the tariffs still remain, the 10% tariff on all UK goods going to the US, except there's exemptions for a few key things, like the first 100,000 cars they sell. Now, the UK only sells 120,000 cars to America anyway. So it's basically it's a weird exemption for UK cars. Okay. There's a few other small things that get exemptions, but overall it's a few key industries are exempt, everything else 10%. And then the UK promises to buy a bunch of Boeing planes. They're going to buy a bunch of Boeing planes. And that's the deal. I'm not kidding. The UK lowers some tariffs. Lowers, I think, from 7 to 4% or something. And by the way it's written is all so informal. It's all we will in good faith try to do some things, or like the actual hard and fast rules. The whole thing fits in a post. It's real compared to an actual trade deal, something like NAFTA or any of these big trade deals. It's so light on specifics and feels more like a feel good, we signed a deal than anything comprehensive. So does this change anything? The market was flat on it. It's not so good, not so bad. No one really knows what to think about it. It could lead to more deals getting signed, but at the end of the day, it hasn't changed the reality of now we have a trade barrier with the UK that we didn't before, which is the tariffs. I would say overall, it's pretty inconsequential, and certainly doesn't change our ability to get deals signed with our major partners, which are Japan, China, India, EU. Those are the four that really need to get figured out. So that's a small brief update, but I guess it's progress just in a really, really wishy-washy way. It's very performative. Yeah, it's very performative. If you look at the actual specific deal, it really feels more like both Trump and Starmer wanted a W. They wanted something to announce, but as a matter of changing trade, it doesn't really change mine. Yeah, it's very Fentzar coded. Is an EU deal mostly a Germany deal? No. Listen, Germany and France are the economic powerhouses of the EU, but it's more than them, for sure. And I guess the key takeaway is that the way Trump is seeing this is that even once a deal gets made on a close ally acquiescing to demands, we're not getting rid of the 10% tariff. That's like just permanent. So, I mean, the economic costs of that are going to be pretty severe. If nobody can deal their way out of that, and that's the new thing, then it's kind of an L. Yeah, I don't know. Isn't a broad 10% tariff among the highest in the world? Yes. How's European South, Italy, Spain, Greece, etc.? Pigs is doing good. Portugal, Italy, Greece, Spain is doing good, or relatively good. But I hear reports on the ground that it's not so good. So maybe not. But economic data is good. I think Italy's a tough spot. Very Japan situation. I don't think it's as bad as Japan, but yes. I mean, a lot of parts of Europe have the rapidly aging society problem. That's hitting worse there than it is, for example, here. Tariff cuts for Jaguar Land Rover UK benefits an Indian conglomerate. Yeah. Well, it's just cars. UK cars, the first 100,000 of them are tariff free, and they only sell 130K. So essentially it's an exemption for UK cars. Shouldn't Italy's economy be great because of all the spaghetti? That's a great question. That's a really powerful question. I do think that every time anyone anywhere eats spaghetti, they get money somehow for that. So it should be they get royalties, yeah. But other than that, no major changes in the UK. Have you developed your hardline, unshakable stance on the Iran-India war yet? Well, it's Pakistan-India, so I guess step one is you should know the countries. I guess if I'm going to teach you about it, you should know the two countries that are involved. I can tell you one thing about it. I'm not going to, this is certainly not the time for me to go into Pakistan, India, but I will tell you one thing that is crazy. So you guys may not know this, but Pakistan here is largely supplied militarily by China. I was going to draw a Chinese flag. Well, I'm not going to do that, but this is China. just know that it will say C, right? Pakistan is largely supplied militarily by China, and India is largely supplied militarily by the West. Okay? That includes America, but not limited to. They also have European and other manufacturers. And until now, Chinese military tech has been yet to be tested against, top tier Western tech in any sort of military combat situation. Again, without going too deep into the conflict, this recently happened where the brand new Chinese jet, the F-10 Dragon, maybe I'm wrong on the call sign. Let me make sure I got that right. The J-10 Dragon, the J-10 Vigorous Dragon, I'm sorry, shot down the French jet that India had bought at like 100-meter distance. No, longer than that. Sorry. Maybe actually, I think a really long distance. Yeah, the Rafale. The Rafale jet. Okay? And what is fucking crazy, what blew my mind, is that as the fog of war is clearing on this J-10 Dragon shooting down the French jet, the stock price of the Chinese company that makes the Dragon starts spiking. That's the world we live in. As the markets are real-time recognizing the value of this fucking plane being at possible parity, they start bidding up the price of Avic Chengdu Aircraft Company 40% as the fog of war is clearing. That's wild. What a world we live in. How do we know it was a pilot diff? It could have been. I'm certainly no expert on the difference between the J-10 and the Rafale, okay? What I'm saying is that the market is trying to price in this new reality. And in fact, and this is direct quotes. The direct quotes, there's no better advertisement than a real combat situation, said Yun Sun, a Chinese military affairs specialist at Simpson Center. This came as a pleasant surprise for China. The result is quite striking. That's wild. Anyway, it's becoming this weird proxy of Western and Chinese military tech. It's very Cold War coded. It's very similar to Cold War era skirmishes and proxy battles. And it's odd, is all I'll say about that for now.